With the sun going down and the atmosphere getting to be just right, I thought that I should tell you about one of my favorites. This is a board game about bluffing and deceit, betrayal, and monsters in the woods. But in order to do it justice, we're going to need to set the atmosphere to be absolutely perfect. Set in a haunted little village that nevertheless has all of the staples of any thriving municipality. You know, church, graveyard, spooky woods, blood sacrifice altar, portal to hell, and of course a dingy little hut on the outskirts of town where you can store your local raving lunatic. You know, a thriving community. Shadowhunters is a hidden roles game featuring 2 to 3 about equal teams, shadows versus hunters, they're trying to eliminate each other, plus some neutral roles that get thrown in when you have an odd number of players. The key to this game is, from the start, no one is going to have any clue who the hell anyone else even is. So it's down to you to gather clues using the help of aforementioned raving lunatic to try and figure out who your teammates, but most importantly, who your enemies are. All of this confusion can sometimes lead to situations where someone on your team starts attacking you because they think that you're lying. And they're right to do so because you probably were. Confusing everything in this weird little game of deduction are the neutral characters. These are characters who don't really care about the fight between good and evil, as long as they're able to follow through on their own weird little agendas. Bob wants to be the richest guy in town. Allie just wants to make it to the end. Agnes is kind of fickle and just wants whoever is on her left or right to win, depending on where she is in the game. And Daniel wants to appear so suspicious that you all attack him, therefore winning the game for Daniel. The most interesting mechanic, and probably the one that's going to be toughest for first-time players, are these hermit cards. When you pick one of these up, you're going to read it, understand what it does, and then you'll choose another player to hand it to. Then they'll read it, figure out if the hermit's statement about them is true or not, and if it is, they follow through with the rest of the instructions. It's very confusing in the abstract, but once you get a round or two in, you understand. For example, I'm a shadow. I'm trying to figure out who around the table is my other shadow teammate. You know, that special someone who together will help me usher in a new era of fear and darkness for all eternity. And so, I draw a hermit card. That hermit card says, I bet you're a hunter. If so, you receive 1 damage. Not quite what I wanted, but if I can successfully give this card to another one of the players who is a hunter, then not only will I figure out who my mortal enemy is, but they'll also be forced to take 1 damage. I'm gonna pick this guy. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's gotta be a hunter. He'll read it, and if he is a hunter, then he is forced to take 1 damage. But if nothing happens, then sure, he could be my partner in evil and darkness, or he could be a neutral. So no information is ever perfect in Shadowhunters, but you do constantly have new little bits coming in every single turn, helping you deduce the puzzle. It's anime-themed, so your weeb friends will love it. There's dice rolling and lying, grudges that shift the politics of the table, the satisfaction of untangling the web of lies that you and your friends have been telling each other all night, plus hilarity when you realize that you were wrong about your friend Tyler. He was a hunter the whole time. Unfortunately, you just blew him up with a stick of dynamite from across the map, thereby obliterating the only other Ghostbuster in town, meaning that the demons have almost certainly won. You idiot. But it's not entirely your fault. Almost nothing in Shadowhunters is ever actually in your control. Combine a lack of knowledge about the jerk you're standing next to the roll of the dice determining where you can even go in this weird little burg, and your attacks are limited to who is physically standing next to you in this horrible little hamlet, so you might know that your enemy is across town, but there's nothing you can do because you've got an appointment at the Hellmouth. It's amazing anything ever gets done in this town. As a tangent, just to show you how chaotic this game can be, there's a card that my friends and I love to hate. It's called First Aid. Sounds useful, right? Helpful, in a way? Well, when this card is randomly drawn off of its deck, the person who drew it can, and I quote, place a character's HP marker to 7. Which is great news if that person was already suffering pretty hard, like maybe they were up there in the 11, 12, 13 damage range. Terrible. Can draw them right back. Not such good news if you've suffered no damage. And remember, this is a randomly shuffled deck of cards. This could be the first card drawn in a game, or it could never come up. But something that is theoretically supposed to be helpful could just wind up transporting someone immediately to death's door. It is breathtakingly stupid, and I love it. So, in summary, pointless grudges, hidden allegiances, and utter chaos at all times, but never in a way that feels unfair. You always have enough information to make a decision, but with so much calamity and confusion happening all around you at all times, it never really feels like any one player is just getting stomped on. Now, unfortunately, Zedman, the company that produced Shadowhunters, hasn't printed this game in a number of years, but the original designer did team up with Cosmos Games to re-implement Shadowhunters' design as 2021's FANGS, which I have not played, but it looks very similar, albeit with more of a Twilighty, Midwestern teen vampires versus teen werewolves kind of aesthetic. Some things from my adolescence truly can't be killed by the march of time, and teen vampires appears to be one of them. But I guess everybody has a niche. So, regrettably, Shadowhunters may be an ancient relic by modern board gaming standards, but much like the scariest movie monsters, it's hard to kill a great game. And if you do wind up picking up Shadowhunters online or FANGS and comparing the two, make sure you let me know how it goes. I'm always interested to know when a good design persists. But in the meantime, happy board gaming. I wish I had a better ending. Now, a lot of people would probably say, Ross, why would you make a 10-minute video about a board game that people can't actually buy? And to that I say, I don't know. I just really love Shadowhunters. Anyways, subscribe for more, or check out either of these videos. One is a short film that I made, the other is a stand-up set that I made. I make a lot of stuff. Not a lot of it is in the same genre.